Okay, 1, 2, 3, action. Hi guys, my name is Vincent. I have my two team members here, Lee Min and Bok.
Yay.
Hello.
Okay, so I think there was one day, three of us sitting down in our office and we think that, hey, maybe we can start something, what we always do every day and to share our experience with people like you all, right? So let me introduce a bit about ourselves. I think we have been in this industry, property industry, for the past decade. Well, when I talk about property, we are not talking about like buying and selling, but we are more in a after sales service. So we are in renovation, we are in property management, we are in tenancy management, we are in property maintenance. So yes, so I was thinking maybe we can share whatever we have been through, our experience, our stories, and we will be doing 10 episodes from now onwards, and we will call it the lazy investors, right? Okay?
Yeah.
So today we will start our first episode and we want to talk about whether or not it's rental income. In property investment, is property investment a passive rental income or not? I think there's a very huge debate going on whether or not this is a passive income or an active income, because it is not what it seems to be. A lot of people always thought that buying a property and that's it, finding a tenant, paying rental, but there are a lot of things that is not on the table most of the time, right? So I'll be asking all ourselves whether or not our journey so far, whether or not it's active or passive. So Limin, tell me more about your first property invested. So why do you choose to invest in your first property? And yeah, basically just start with that first.
Well, my first property, to be very honest, I bought it because my parents thought it was a great property. So it just one day they called me, hey, come over and view this unit. I went over, immediately say, okay, we're signing the deal, you're paying the bill, right? Of course, in my mind, I think over the years, my parents have always taught me about property. They're not really property players, but I've always thought that it could be a passive income, right? Because to me, it's buy a property, rent it out, passive income lah, right? Then the rest of it, of course, I didn't have any experience whether there were any fees, and also to me, it was passive income. Yes, I can earn more money lah. So yeah, when I went in, it was a deep blue sea. I had to figure things out on my own. But yeah, I was forced to buy a property lah.
Okay. Okay. So that at that point of time, you think that rental will automatically just come in on a monthly basis and everything will be smooth, stable.
Yeah, like I really thought that, hey, buy property already. Well, I mean, at that point, I knew that okay, you at least either you furnish it or you don't furnish
Yep.
it. So the property I bought was already furnished.
Okay.
So I didn't want to think of redoing it. I thought, let's just let it be and then just rent it out. And I thought really looking for a tenant would be quite fast and
Yep,
quite
yep,
easy
yep.
lah. But I was wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really difficult. It was a tough journey. Yeah.
How about you, Bob? 你的呢？你的第一个 property，你是为什么想要买你第一间 property？
一开始就是OK， 我的 experience on 我的 first property 是本来是想在差不多30岁啊，那个钱没有去买 property 也是这样花这个 amount，然后那时候我就convince 自己就买一个 property，或者因为那时候我是有这个能力的
OK，
然后就买了这些 property，本来是想着是 own stay，因为那时候刚出来做工也是在 rent 的 unit 而已，就是说自己有自己的度假，因为我不是 KL 人，所以父母也没有在这边嘛，所以通常都是没有在这里住都是 rent unit 的，然后买了过后哪里知道我的 process 有点快有点 progress， 我就认识了一个女朋友
OK，
然后就进入了婚姻，然后有了一个 baby，
OK，
然后我的 unit 刚好的时候是去年2025年差不多9月10月左右吧，好了过后就觉得因为我 unit 是2 in 1来的，2+1，sorry 2+1，然后那空间不够啊，有了小孩子过后才知道空间不够，才会转成去做成 investment unit，然后一开始以为 investment unit 我的 经验也是像黎明一样的，以为哎呀应该 rent 出去啊，就是一个 passive income，过后发现到又要担心 tenant 的问题。为什么我讲 tenant 的问题？因为通常你买了 unit，你要拿 key collection 的时候，你又要做那个 defect 啊，你要有 renovation period 啦，所以你那空窗时间差不多有一个2到3个月左右是租不出去的，然后你要自己给这个你的 installment，就有各种各类的挑战啊，在后面的其实，然后对我来讲，后来我才发现到有一点像是 asset 吧，是属于像你讲的，可能是一个 active income，我不觉得是一个 passive income。
所以你那时候你找 tenant 啊这些东西啊，你在你心目中是 property agent 帮你做完的吧，还是怎样？你是什么一个概念的？
一开始我还没有去了解这样多，因为后来我做了tenancy management 的东西过后，我才知道需要一个 agent 帮忙。
OK
因为我们个人能力的话，我们自己找，我们没有这个路去找的话就比较辛苦，然后而且可能你的 property 需要更长的时间去租出去。所以那时候我是靠 agent 帮我找，因为那刚好我有认识我朋友啦。我朋友也是 agency 的。
因为我想问你，就是那时候你把你的屋子出租的时候，你是靠一个 agent 还是有很多个 agent 在帮你做这份工
？OK， 我的 agent 呢，他旗下是有其他的 panel agent 的所以他不是一个人，他自己有做，然后他也有帮忙打出去啦。所以他当我 renovate 好我的 unit 的时候，差不多1个月左右他就找到 tenant 给我了。
你很幸运哦。
是1个月左右就找到。
Okay, how about you?
I think, guess mine.
No, like so how do you manage to find your first tenant?
Yeah.
Is it through agent or how do you find?
Yeah, so I think Bob, yours is a new unit, right?
Yes.
I bought a subsale.
Okay.
So
Okay.
subsale, I mean the location is in Bandar Utama, a quite developed, matured area, I would say. So I first went in with one agent only.
Okay.
Because in my mind is competition will be lower. I go directly to someone who is great in Bandar or focused in Bandar Utama area. So yeah, I went to one agent, but of course it took really long time for me to find my tenant.
How long?
I think it took about a good 6 to 8 months for me to find a tenant. So it was really painful. Again, my father forced me to buy the property. So yeah, the 6 to 8 months I had to pay all the installment and everything. Then of course I think in between when it was like 3-4 months I couldn't get any tenant profiles and all. I decided to go out and look for other agents as well. I got another one more to help me advertise and then of course to see whether I can find tenant, and little later finally we managed to find. So yeah, I worked with 2 agents in the end to get a tenant.
Can I understand your emotional or your mind lah during that 6 to 8 months without tenant and paying what we call an empty installment, bleeding like in a way. How do you feel?
It's definitely very painful. Very, very painful. Because the property I bought was also not an entry level property, I must say. It's
Do you mind me asking how much is the property?
It's above 1 million. Yeah, so you can only imagine how much the installment is. But thankfully, of course, I didn't share with you. Is my dad was sharing with me half the bill. But again, half the bill was still quite a hefty amount for 6 to 8 months. I was very worried. I was very worried. At that point, I was just thinking, you know what, maybe I just need to turn it into an own stay unit because again, 6 to 8 months haven't found tenant. Why don't I relook into renovating it and then I live in there? So that was my entire thought process. Selling it was not gonna happen unless I sell it back to my father and take over, right? So yeah.
Okay. For myself, I think I consider quite lucky as compared to you all. I think my first property, I've been in property investment for the past since I was 25, 26 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, about 15 years ago lah. So you all know how old am I lah, huh? So yeah, when I first rented out the property, right, I think it was very smooth.
Mm.
So when I go BP to get my keys, right, I met this agent at the lobby. So this agent, this guy was stranger to me. But after that, until today, we're actually very good friends. Okay, so he managed to find me. Actually, yeah, I was lucky in the sense that not only fast, but also my tenant is the highest priced tenant during my time.
Wow.
Yeah. And this was back in Summer Street long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So my tenant was actually a Japanese guy working for Jasco Eon.
Mm.
So the company is paying. So that time it broke the record for the entire building for a one bedder layout unit. So mine was quite different from yours lah. I was lucky. Anyway, come back to your. So now let's talk about we talk about finding a tenant. It's not that easy, right?
Mm.
But how about after tenant moved in? Do you guys want to share like any stories? For example, any delay in terms of the rental, any maintenance issue, or whether or not is the agent responsive enough? Because you guys are relying on the agent to do all the tenancy thing, right? Yeah, and also do you require to follow up a lot of things and stuff like that? Who wants to? Bob, you want? Oh,
I can share first.
okay.
My experience after tenant move in okay, 有几个 hidden issue 了，每次我们没有发现到的，因为 I myself also 没有住进去过，
对，
是吗？我不懂那屋子 after stay for a few months already what will happen， 所以我的 tenant 一住进去几个月过后有 odor issue。odor
issue 就是味道
对，
OK
那个味道，那个 floor trap
OK
smelly 啦，然后叮叮咚咚了，蛮长时间的，就是需要我自己没有去啦，但是也是有 call 了我几次，需要去 management 那边解决 management 的问题，然后叫 technician 过来看做了，结果后面还是做不停，然后我的 tenant 吵着要搬出去了，就是说还要搬出去找，就是要给我 break 那个 contract 啦。过后我那时候我也是很烦，后来我的 agent manage to 帮我解决啦，因为本身我自己是有这个经验的，我只是把小一些 anti odor 的那个 floor trap 给他，叫他去帮我 install，然后就解决了这个问题。我有这一方面的经验的。
就除了那个 那个 trap 的那个味道的问题，还有什么其他问题吗？
我的就比较幸运，他在 renter payment 或者是utility bills 方面都 OK， 都准时的，没有什么问题。就是我有 face 过就是这个问题要有 early termination 的风险的。
OK 里面
Mine's pretty interesting. So 6 to 8 months couldn't find tenant, and then finally we found a tenant. So this tenant was actually living in the building also, but had to move out. So found my unit, and I think he got a pretty good deal. But that's where the horror started lah.
Okay.
If you talk about rental, paying the bills and all, yeah, they pay on time. Really good paymaster. But when it came to problems in the unit, mind you, my tenant is an expat, not local.
Okay.
There were certain expectations that they had expected for things to be done. So first of all, it was very unfortunate. I bought a fully furnished unit, but the TV was not working anymore.
Okay.
To backtrack a little bit more, the agents that I found, it wasn't direct agent that rented out my unit. It was co-broke.
Okay.
Yeah. So there were a few requests that was put in through the tenant to me, and then also at the same time myself to the tenant. But little did we know, once the tenant moved in, these were all not communicated. Agents took their comms and then they left, right? So I dealt with the tenant directly. So there was a TV issue. So one, it was TV's not smart. It's not a smart TV.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we are in 2026. There should be a smart TV lah. But like I said, I bought a fully furnished unit. I didn't want to buy a new one. So it was a TV, not a smart TV. And then I told him, I said, this was not requested, right? So no, I'm not going to buy a smart TV. The current TV is currently working. Then little later, 1-2 days later, suddenly tell me the TV is not working anymore. Then of course I'm thinking, how? Why is it not working? Cannot be. So I thought, never mind lah, it's okay. I had an extra TV at home anyway, not smart TV, by the way. So I decided, you know what? I'm not gonna I don't want to deal with the tenant, I'll just drop it off. So I dropped off the TV. Then I texted him and let him know. He came down, he took the TV, then he brought it up, and then he said, this is not a smart TV. I said, sorry, I didn't agree to a smart TV.
Okay.
So it was really, I think we argued about this for 1 to 2 months over a TV because he insists that it's my duty to get him a TV. And also to say, actually at that point, when I rented out to him, I was still pregnant. And then when he stayed in, I just gave birth. So of course I'm busy with my newborn. I had to rest and all. But at the same time, he was giving me all these problems. So yeah, I mean, it took 1 to 2 months. It came to a point that he struck me a deal. He said, how about I buy the TV, and then you increase the rental price. Sorry, you buy the TV and then you increase the rental price. So I did. I said, okay, fine. If you want it that way, I'll increase the rental price. So I increased it by, I think, 100 to 200 ringgit. Can't really remember. But there was 2 years to the tenancy. So of course, after doing the calculations, it didn't make sense to him. And then I told him, I said, I mean, then if not, then why don't you buy your own TV, right? But of course to him, he doesn't live in this country, and he said that he doesn't need the TV at all. But then I also told him, my deal with you is that I give you a TV, that's it, and there's no promise in a smart TV lah. So I had to check. I checked, in my TA and all to make sure that number one, was it worded properly? So in the TA, it just wrote there just a TV.
What's a TA?
Oh, tenancy agreement, sorry. Yeah, so in the tenancy agreement, it's just written there as TV. That's it. No size, nothing. So the other thing that he was arguing was the size of the TV. So the one that was in the unit, I think it was 60-inch. The one that I gave him was, I think, 50-inch only. So that was also, again, another problem. So yeah, long story short, in the end, not happy about the extra rental, and then demanded, also decided to say, last call, I pay you only 100 a month extra, but you still buy the TV. I said, what deal is this? I don't agree. So no lah. So it's either you live without a TV or you buy your own TV. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I had to go through all of that lah.
So all this, right, I'm guessing it's really interrupting your daily life, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, even your case also, you do it yourself, right? Or like the odor thing, 那个味道的东西是你自己去帮他解决还是怎么样？因为你都是在这一行嘛。
到最后因为 agent 他们没有这个
经验
technical 这个 skill，然后我 face 过这个问题，所以我也帮过我的 client 解决过这个问题，所以我大概知道要买什么东西去解决啦。那时候我是买了，然后我教他怎样做，然后因为毕竟tenant 住到不舒服，多多少 agent 都会跟你交代一下，要跟你讲一下啦，因为他解决不了这个问题嘛，他就会找你咯。如果他经过property不 sorry 那个 development 的 management 的话，通常他需要我们 owner 的资料啊之类的东西啊，要做 appointment 啊，他们都是需要找我们，所以也是挺烦一下的，挺烦的。
我也是听到你们其实跟 agent 的那个配合度啊，就是说你们是怎样跟 agent communicate？ 有没有经常去 communicate 去得到tenancy 的 update 呢？还是说有什么问题找他们，他们都会 response 给你呢？还是在这一方面，因为你的刚刚告诉我里面有讲到就是你的是 co-broke，所以我的了解是 co-broke 的情况下是有2个 agent 在做这个交易嘛。像通常一个是代表 tenant， 一个是代表着 owner 的，这很多时候就是话传话，不懂传到哪里去，然后如果东西没有把它好好的写在那个所谓的 tenancy agreement 里面，就是你在那边讲，我在那边吵，讲来讲去讲不通的哦。所以你们在这一方面跟你们 agent 的这个配合度呢，是怎么样的一个样子呢？
OK， 以我的，因为我跟 OK， 你刚才讲到 update 这个东西，其实我跟我的 agent 是算朋友来的。
对，你提到他是你朋友对不对？
是我朋友的，所以所以我每1个月如果有见到他1-2次的话，我都会问他一下，有 tenant 最近有什么 enquiry 有 request 或者是什么 complaint 没有，他也会那时候他才会跟我讲，其实这个 tenant 有时候会有点麻烦啊，然后需求什么，当然如果是因为我也是有go through我自己的 tenancy agreement 的， 然后如果是 under 我的 scope， 我就会跟他讲，你我是爸爸，如果有什么需要的就跟我讲不了，我会负责任。如果不是我需要的，可以谈，因为我不想到制造太多麻烦给我的 agent，
对，
也是一个问题。然后因为毕竟他们是中间人嘛，他们也是要看我们的我们 agree 他们才可以做这样。
你呢，里面呢？
Well, my agent is also not a rental agent.
Oh,
It's actually an agent that was that
Buy,
does
sell,
sell. I mean, of course, prior to the tenancy starting, I dealt with my agents a lot more. But once the tenant has moved in, to be very honest with you, I think I'm quite an easy landlord. I honestly, I don't really want to care too much about tenancy agreement. But later on, once the tenant moved in, I realized that actually it is very important to have everything written down very clearly in the tenancy agreement to make sure that both parties are covered. Especially, I think as a homeowner, I think we need to be protected because certain clauses, imagine today, if I didn't read through, it states there's smart TV or the TV at 60-inch. Now I have to honor that legally on paper. I have to honor that already. So yes, my agent, do I still speak to my agent? No, there were some things that were not communicated anymore, at all. That's also because my agent does for sale units. So I feel like they don't have that experience to handle the tenant. So it became my problem in the end. And they just, they happily took the call.
So I mean, listening from both your stories, right? I mean, Bob 可能我觉得，因为你可能还有一个很好的朋友帮你在做这个 agent 的东西，所以听起来你的好像没有那么麻烦。那我想问里面就是 ，Have you ever regretted buying this property? I mean, honestly, I mean, okay, maybe regretful is a very harsh word or very heavy word, but is there a point of time that really like us, a thought of I shouldn't have bought this?
Yeah. Definitely. I think it was really the first 3 months because that was the toughest. I was in my confinement. First I was pregnant and then in my confinement, then after that the tenant was giving me problems. Of course, at the beginning to me, and plus with the 6 to 8 months no rental, I honestly wanted to exit. I felt like it was really stressful. Like, wow, I didn't think the property, buying a property, owning a property is so difficult. But then of course, later, I mean, of course, being in the property line as well, later on I realized that there are certain things that you want to communicate with your tenants. It becomes a bit more tougher as a landlord to a tenant. Because there may be situations where they might plead with you, right? And during those situations, I always feel like, it's okay lah. I handle it, give in, right? But giving in is also not the right thing, I feel. So during these points, I always feel like I should have had a property manager to manage it so that they can speak to the tenant directly, and I don't have to deal with all this. My tenant will call me constantly just to get an update over a TV that's not working anymore, or even a TV that's working but it's not a smart TV. So it was really very stressful, like if you ask me. But later on, it started to get better. Again,
What has changed?
I guess once they managed to settle down already, there weren't much problems in the unit. There were here and there. Ultimately for me, it's what I understood is the choice of communication. The choice of words that they used may at the beginning seem to not sound very nice. It sounds very demanding. But later on, also, I realized that there were things that I can also demand back as a landlord, right? Because I can put my foot down and say, this is something that you've damaged. This is something that you pay for. So that's based on, I mean, of course, based on my experience in the property line, that's why I knew. Otherwise, if not, then I think I would have just continuously pay and just hope that no more problem lah.
So does that mean that now everything is still handling by yourself or what?
Yes, now it's still handling by myself. I think at this point, for me personally, I feel like the capacity was, I mean, I only own one property. I think capacity wise, I am still able to do it. Also because thankfully my tenant pays the bills on time every time.
Still the same expat?
Yes.
10 years. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Good.
Finally, yeah. They also extended.
Oh, nice.
So for 2
Nice.
more years.
Nice.
So to me, it's I have to choose either I deal with no rental again for a few more months,
Yep.
or I deal with this tenant and ensure that there is a bit more mutual understanding between the both of us. So yeah, that's how I.
How about Bong 呢？你现在还是用着你那个 friend 帮你去找 tenant 嘛？你这个 tenant 是你当初那个 tenant 吗？还是已经换了？
出发现在我还是同一个 tenant。
哇，你们都很幸运哦。
我还是算幸运的那一个啦。So 但是不懂意外哪一天发生，我也是会担心哪一天，因为他之前也是因为有就是刚刚跟你讲有 order 的问题，所以还要 early termination，我也是担心这个问题的。后来因为我还是 rely on 我的朋友啦，因为我朋友那个 agent 他是找得到 tenant 给我的话，我就没有这样担心咯。
说是咯，我觉得刚刚听到Bong你的故事，还有里面 also your story, right? I think a lot of people always thought that buying a property, finding a tenant, and rental income will come automatically. I think this is not the case, especially we are in this line, right? This industry, we know there are actually a lot of things, a lot of stressful work that we need to go through. That's why, honestly speaking, to me, I mean, I consider a serial property investors. I have multiple units, right? Honestly, if you ask me to handle all by myself, my answer is definitely not going to happen. I have my daily job. I have my daily personal life. You all know I'm a fitness freak. You know, I do a lot of sports. And some more, if I want to take out my time to go and manage my tenant and properties, right, I don't think this is going to work. This is not viable at all. That's right. So I think, I mean, yes, I mean, good that you guys have this kind of experience. Moving forward, if I think you guys want to continue buying properties, right, probably you need to leverage on, outsourcing, property management, or even our own team members, right, to do all these things. So I think that's all for this episode, right? I think it's really just an introduction of what we want to talk about moving forward. And I hope really from our conversation, from our stories that we are sharing can add values to the, whoever is in front of the camera right now. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.